Happy Monday, everyone. Josh of Severe Weather. Thank you for joining me here this afternoon. We've got a major storm that is brewing across the southeast. That will be heading to the eastern seaboard and producing very heavy rain, maybe some severe weather, and then a change over to snow. And the other thing I'm concerned about with this system is the potential for strong winds on the east coast, perhaps even approaching hurricane force. Some major impacts coming. So we're going to talk about that during this video here over the next 15 or so minutes here. Major impacts from Louisiana and Florida all the way up into Atlantic Canada and New England. And rain is going to change over to snow as colder air returns behind this system here towards Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Wednesday night. Right now, though, we do have warm air that is surging northward here. Let me update this for you. And you can see temps well into the 70s on the Gulf Coast. 50s across the mid-Atlantic states, even 60s in parts of the Tennessee Valley, quite a bit warmer than where we ended last week, where temperatures were in the 20s, 30s, and 40s in a lot of this area. But you can see the cold air is, in fact, lurking again here across the Dakotas. We are seeing temperatures dropping down below average again as that next wave of cold comes down. Here's a look at the water vapor image from tropicaltidbits.com, and you can see we do have one feature here moving across New England, and it's a sloppy mess on the front end of this as the cold air is still kind of slow to move out, but it is going to eventually move out. Here's our next piece of energy coming out of the southwest. And this is producing heavy amounts of rain over portions of South Louisiana. Not really a lot of severe weather, but something we do need to monitor here as the day wears on. There's a third piece that's going to drop down underneath this, and our trough is going to strengthen. And what that's going to do is pull a lot more moisture up the East Coast and then follow with abruptly colder weather here for the second portion of the week. So lots will change this week compared to last week when it was cold and relatively quiet for most, except in the lake effect areas. This week, quite a bit different here with a much stormier pattern across this area. And you can see right now we do have winter weather advisories across the interior of the Northeast, as well as the northern tier of the country here, and a winter storm warning over the Superior Lake shore. And we do have strong winds across Southern California as well, where a red flag warning is in effect. Wildfire danger will be elevated here as that cold air rushes down here, but the pressure rises cause a strong offshore flow across California. And in the Gulf states, we do have a flash flood watch in the greater New Orleans area and flash flood warnings over portions of southeastern Louisiana as well. I do want to turn your attention to winds here before we talk about precip types. Take a look at some of the wind gusts we are going to see as this storm system makes its way up the coast. Wednesday gets very windy in the morning, and then in the afternoon and at night, strong winds will buffet the northeast coast here. And I'm going to zoom in to show this to you. So our storm is going to strengthen, and winds are going to crank up out of the south ahead of our storm, and then return colder air behind it. And you can see these wind gusts here later Wednesday and Wednesday night have the potential to approach hurricane force across this region and here, mainly coastal New England, perhaps even hurricane force wind gust possibilities down Long Island and down the Jersey Shore, and even down into the Delmarva here around Ocean City, Maryland. So we definitely need to be preparing for some possible power outages. This is primarily just confined to the coastal areas, but inland areas do need to watch out as well due to the fact that this storm is going to be barreling at us pretty quickly. Farther to the south, it will also get pretty windy here across the mountains, but more so towards the coast, and potential wind gusts Wednesday afternoon approaching 50 to 60 miles per hour for the Hudson Valley, for the Delaware River Valley, for the lower Bay Area, and all the way down into eastern parts of North Carolina. And then farther south, we are also going to see some stronger wind gusts on the coast of South Carolina, maybe across North Florida and Southeast Georgia on the order of 30 to 40 miles per hour. So windy conditions arriving here, not as strong as in the mountains, at least, as they were last week, but at the coast, certainly this will be a powerhouse of a storm system. Excuse me. You can see here our storm system moving into New England. We're going to see snow and some ice. That's the pink here, right on the U.S.-Canadian border as that cold air takes a while to leave. It leaves aloft first and then near the ground. That's why we have that frozen precipitation potential here around 5, 6 o'clock, places just to the north and east of Rome, New York, and also across the interior portions of Vermont and New Hampshire here. We do have some possibilities of some mixed precipitation along the Ottawa River area here, the Quebec Ontario border. We actually have a threat for some sleet as well, although that's not going to be a long, pure a long duration event here in portions of eastern Canada. As the night wears on, we see snow falling across Maine, spreading into portions of New Brunswick and far northern Nova Scotia. And then tomorrow should be a quieter day across this area as temperatures are going to warm up significantly. But then our next piece of energy moves in tomorrow night, and we get to see more rain, some of it on the heavy side, and also the potential for freezing rain over parts of northern New England, as well as areas just to the north of the St. Lawrence Valley for Wednesday morning. Wednesday is going to be a washout, and then as the cold air returns, we are going to see a shift over to snow here later Wednesday afternoon, and especially Wednesday night. And I'm going to show you a little bit more of that here later this video. Here's a look at front end snow totals here, and you can see amounts, generally speaking, will be less than 4 inches, a few higher amounts in the mountains here. Several inches across portions of Canada is expected. And then we'll see more snow on the back end here moving in Wednesday afternoon, mainly back across the mountains. It's not just snow we have to worry about, though. We do have the potential here for some ice, and you can see the freezing rain potential is significant across parts of Quebec, and it's high enough to cause problems across parts of New England, upstate New York, all the way back to near Toronto, Canada here. We also have the potential to see a little bit of sleet as well. So a really sloppy storm system here across New England and across eastern Canada. That's the unfortunate part of our thaws and our warm-ups is with the moisture, it's just not warm enough yet to get rid of the winter weather. It's just going to be a little bit dicey here for the next couple of days. The other challenge we're going to deal with is heavy rain. We're not going to see anything more than moderate rain tonight and tomorrow, but the next wave that comes in Wednesday will pick things up. And Wednesday afternoon, we do have a large portion of the Northeast into New England, which could see in advance of an inch and a half, in excess, I should say, of over an inch and a half to maybe 2.5 inches of rain around the Poconos and Catskills here. And a lot of that's going to be later in the day on Wednesday. Looking farther back to the west, you can see here snow across Ontario. A lot of this on the front end of our storm. Then we get cold air wrapping in behind our system on Tuesday. And then here comes the moisture. And this is primarily going to be rain for the Northeast, but we do have the potential to see some backside snow showers here with accumulation all the way down into parts of Kentucky, maybe even snow flurries down to places like Nashville, Tennessee here later on Tuesday night. Also across portions of Missouri and Iowa and Minnesota, we are going to see some snow here. But this thing doesn't really get cranking until it moves to the East Coast. And with storms tracking in this direction here, with the cold air following, as the cold air catches up, this is our area that's likely to see the most amount of snow on the back end here. And you can see snow totals here with this system in Ontario are going to get close to a foot. But behind the system, quite a bit more with lake effect off of Superior and off of Michigan, and then wraparound snow. And you can see the NAM model even gives us closer to 1.5 inches around Columbia, Missouri. But amounts are probably going to be highest when we get over here into the mountains of West Virginia again. And that shouldn't be anything unusual here. And you can see that even the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee could see locally up to 6 inches, but even small accumulations over parts of southern Ohio, southeastern Indiana, as well as eastern Kentucky. We even have the possibility of flurries all the way down into Alabama and North Georgia here Wednesday night. Looking at the rest of the Midwest here, you can see that band of snow showers that we have to keep an eye on crossing Iowa down into Missouri, where we could see locally 1 inch or 2 of snow. And then looking a little bit farther to the east here, I'll show you Ohio. Sorry about the delay here. You could see that generally speaking, we could see a light amount of accumulation in places like Cleveland and Erie, into southwest New York, as well as across lower Michigan. But Detroit area, Flint, generally speaking, this will be not a big snowfall for you. Now, the other issue we have to worry about is the potential for severe weather. Not a huge tornado outbreak, but a few tornadoes possible later today over South Louisiana and Mississippi. And then we have a marginal risk tomorrow over southern Alabama, northwestern Florida, and southern Georgia. And for now, Wednesday, we don't have any severe weather in the forecast, but I am going to be keeping an eye on things here along the mid-Atlantic coastline, as well as across northern Florida. I do want to show you the potential radar here from the NAM model. Lots of rain down south over the next couple of days. We've got 2 waves that are coming through, but what we need to watch is where this front sets up. It's not going to have a lot of push to it here tomorrow evening, but as it gets to the East Coast, you'll see that things are going to look a little bit more unsettled here as the winds aloft start picking up. And you can see this squall line here that extends from parts of eastern Pennsylvania right on down the East Coast, maybe all the way into central Florida here. So this is the line that we're watching. This is going to be 1 in the afternoon on Wednesday. And as that marches east here, there's going to be some wind shear, just not a whole lot of instability. So strong winds for sure. Tornado threat, though, I think is pretty minimal at this point. But I would rather be prepared than not here just in case until this line moves offshore here in the evening hours. And you can see our tornado parameters are not zero. They're not high, but they're not zero. You can see there's a slim chance of something here from eastern PA into eastern North Carolina. If we back this up, you'll see there's even a chance tomorrow over parts of South Alabama here, maybe even southeast Tennessee, and especially Mississippi and West Florida. But really, the area that we need to be watchful for here, I think, is eastern North Carolina Wednesday afternoon, especially for the Outer Banks. But this is going to be a pretty limited threat for severe weather before the system moves offshore. Rain will be pretty heavy across the south. We are going to see this band of heavy rain over the next day, producing 1 to 3 inches of rain, maybe locally more. And then the next wave comes in here. And all in all here, this is a pretty nasty amount of rainfall from Louisiana into parts of Georgia. We are likely going to see between 2 and 5 inches of rain across this area, and maybe some heavy rain as well over the mountains of western North Carolina, which is not what you want to see, unfortunately, for these folks. Looking at snow on the backside here, I kind of showed this to you earlier, but I want to show you the view from the south here, just so that you could see what's coming down into Tennessee here. And you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if we got a coating on the ground here, even in places like Nashville here, which you could see. Nashville is right about here, and we have mainly the Cumberland Plateau that has the best chance of seeing accumulation. But even around Louisville and up to Cincinnati and Dayton here, we do have the possibility of seeing some snow. So I know I showed this to you twice here. But anyway, let's take a look at what's to happen after this storm rolls through here. Here's the big front on Wednesday night. And you can see our low pressure system very quickly deepens down to 970 millibars. That's a very powerful storm. The cold follows it here. You can see this big high dive south and east. And the rest of the week is going to be relatively quiet until this next system may take shape over the plains over the weekend. For now, it doesn't look like it's going to be a long period event, but it will be running into cold air. So we do need to keep an eye on that again across the upper plains and across portions of the Northeast here. So we're not done after this storm. Things are going to quiet down a couple days, and then it's going to get busy once again. Here's a look at GFS snow totals, and more aggressive than the NAM over eastern Ohio here. We can see amounts that are climbing on the west side of the Appalachians all the way down to the Smoky Mountain range here, 3 to 6 inches, locally more. And you can see the higher amounts will fall farther north all the way up into parts of Quebec. And I will show you Canada here just in a second here. You can see this is going to be a major snowfall with over 40 centimeters of snow in about 24 hours across portions of northern Quebec as the storm continues to deepen. So enjoy the warmth while we can. It's going to get a lot colder again, as you can see here, for the middle of the week in the central U.S., and then Thursday into Friday across the east. Then we start to warm back up next weekend, and we are going to see another wave of cold at some point here before Christmas. But the timing on this is a little bit uncertain. This run of the GFS says it's going to happen the weekend leading up to Christmas, around the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. But this could still change. Anytime there's cold air lingering here and there's an active storm track, we do need to be tracking possible snow. But right now, I don't think the Southeast and the East Coast is favored to see it. I think we're talking interior parts of the East and certainly parts of the Midwest and maybe even the Rocky Mountains. So more of that to come. But as always, I appreciate y'all's time today. Thanks for being patient with me. It's a very busy time of year for us. So I don't think I'm having quite as many videos out as I typically would. And this weekend, I'm going to be traveling, so I'm not going to have a chance to do it on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, unfortunately. But as always, I appreciate everybody's time, and I want to give all the honor and glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who gives me this platform to encourage others and share the good news with them. Jesus tells us in John 16:33 that I have told you these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And it's a dark world that we all live in, but the good news is that Jesus is there for us to accept as our Savior. It's a relationship, and he has the gift of salvation that only we can get as a gift. We can't earn it, but we can earn that salvation, and that will lead to a life in eternity. As difficult as things are here now, once that race is done, and once our time here on earth is gone, we have the option to live eternally with with Jesus and with God in heaven. And I pray that that is what you believe. But if not, you're still welcome here, and I still love you all, even no matter what you believe. So I just wanted you all to know that. But I'm here. If you have any prayer requests, I'm happy to pray for you. I do believe in the power of prayer and the power of community here. And I truly believe that everyone matters here and that you matter. I hope everybody is safe with this upcoming storm, and I'll catch up with you again tomorrow. Have a blessed day. See ya.